I'd like you to watch this other short clip as well. It's quite interesting. You'll nail a different point home. Let us now zoom into the infographic that you see in front of you. If we start right at the top, you'll notice that each of these squares represents roughly $100 billion dollars when they're in full size. So at the very top, you've got the value of Bitcoin at the time this graphic was made, which was in 2013. And the value then of Bitcoin in 2013 was $5 billion dollars. And then the next little dot up here represents the value of silver. Again, everything is in 2013. That was $14 billion dollars. All the silver in the world. Okay, everything that has ever been mined, all the silver. Then the top three squares up there represent the world's three of the world's richest people, including Bill Gates, and the three of them in total, $80 billion. If we scroll further down, we've got the world's biggest companies, including Apple, some of the biggest ones, some of the top five. And in total, these top five, at least here on this infographic, they represented $616 billion. That's the Federal Reserve balance sheet. And now we go to coins and banknotes. All the coins and the banknotes on the planet, in the world, total of $5 trillion. If we scroll further down, this is the value of all commercial real estate in the world, $7.6 trillion. We scroll further down, this is the value of all the gold in the world that has ever been mined, $7.8 trillion. Narrow money, this is the kind of money that is easily accessible, including money that is in your savings and your checking account. You don't need to make an application and wait for 7 days to get access to it. That's what they mean by narrow money. And now you can see the sum total of the squares are getting bigger. This is the value of all the stock markets in the world, roughly $70 trillion. Okay. So as you can see already, if you are to sell all the shares in the world, there's not enough cash to actually convert those shares into cash. You see, we're already crossing into some very interesting territory. Now, this bigger set of boxes is what we call broad money, $80 trillion back in 2013. This is all the narrow money we've already talked about, plus the money that is not so easily accessible. For example, time deposit, fixed deposits, money market accounts, things that you have to, let's say, make an application and wait for 30 days or whatever to get access to it, even if it's, in quotes, your money. Then now we get into very interesting territory. This represents all the debt in the world, the total amount of debt on the planet. Almost about $200 trillion back in 2013. Obviously, now it's much bigger, but just see how much bigger that is than anything that we have seen. If all this debt were called, like, they said, okay, now everybody pay up their debt, there's not enough money, whether it's broad, narrow, or cash, to pay it. Now we get into the really funny money. This is where banking really makes its money without producing anything. In debt, they already make money without producing anything, the financial industry. But with derivatives, that is even bigger because the total value of derivatives, nobody really knows what it is. Some say it's as low as $630 trillion, and some say it's as high as, we actually now in the quadrillion, $1.2 quadrillion. Nobody knows. But that's the size of derivatives. Financial instruments that are actually usable as money, but they actually produce nothing. And this is what creates the bubbles and the crashes and everything that we've been seeing. Are you noticing that I'm still scrolling and we have not done with derivatives? I'm going to scroll back up. This is the end of the infographic. We're going back up. We're looking at derivatives. I'm still scrolling up, scrolling up, scrolling up, scrolling up. This is all derivatives, scrolling up, scrolling up, scrolling up, scrolling up, scrolling up. We're still in derivatives. We're done with derivatives. Now we're getting into debt. Then broad money, all stock markets, narrow money, gold, commercial real estate, coins and banknotes, Fed balance sheet, some of the biggest companies in the world, richest people, silver, Bitcoin, 2013. So you can now see a clearer picture of what we're dealing with when we talk about money. There's no such thing as money as a singularity. It's a collection of so many crazy ideas. Now, a quick hint before we move forward. This clip also shows us how much wealth could be transferred into cryptocurrencies, which is what we're about to talk about next, once the all systems really start to crumble. Because we can all see that the current monetary systems around the world are already shaky. They've been sort of disintegrating for a while now. 2008 was one of the biggest shocks, the global financial crisis. But generally, it's at the point where even presidents such as people like President Obama, Chinese Premier Putin, and many others all over the world, in Europe, in Africa, whatever, they're starting to really realize that, look, this system is not going to be around forever. Of course, it's not going to, nothing lasts forever, but the people are starting to see that it's at a point where it's starting to crack. So now, as it crumbles with all those derivatives and debts and all that funny money and everything that we saw in that video, a lot of this will transfer away from these old currencies as people lose confidence in them, and they'll go into things like precious metals such as gold, silver, and of course into cryptocurrencies. And you'll see why in just a second. But I just wanted to give you a hint that that starts to give you the volume that is possible, obviously not 100% of it, to shift into things like cryptocurrencies and precious metals when confidence is starts to be lost faster and faster.